to the essence of the question, no quotation is necessary. Question number 1, the Hon Paula Bennett.
Thank you. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does she stand by all her government's statements and actions?
The Hon Kelvin Davis.
Mr Speaker, yes.
Is she still committed to doubling the refugee quota to 1,500, as she has said as recently as Monday?
Mr Speaker, the government hasn't finalised commitments around increasing refugee numbers yet. Nothing has gone to Cabinet.
Yeah. I will remind the Minister to say on behalf of Oh no, actually, he's the acting Prime Minister. He doesn't. He is the Prime Minister. I apologise. Order. Order. I don't expect that level of interjection when I apologise for making a mistake. Paula Bennett.
Does she expect her coalition partner, New Zealand First, to support her promise to double the number of refugees?
Mr Speaker, as I said, the government, all these decisions are made through Cabinet. New Zealand First has their position. We have our position. The best interests of New Zealand are at heart, and the decisions will be finalised at Cabinet.
If she backs down on this commitment, then what certainty can the country have on anything that she promises?
Mr Speaker, the country can have certainty that we will raise income levels, that we will increase housing, that we'll invest in the regions. The country can be assured that this government will implement all of our promises.
Will all three government parties be voting in favour of the Electoral Entrenchment of Māori Seats Amendment Bill?
Mr Speaker, again, these are decisions that haven't yet gone to Cabinet. We do have different perspectives, but we do...
A point of order.
Order.
A point of order, the Honourable Chris Hipkins.
Mr Speaker, I'm surprised you didn't rule the question out of order. The Prime Minister has no responsibility for how parties vote on a member's bill.
Yeah. I'm going to get the member to repeat the question. I thought she did refer to parties which consist of the government, which leaves open the question that it could have been discussed with the parties in her role as Prime Minister as opposed to Leader of the Labour Party. Ask the question again, please.
Will all three government parties be voting in favour of the Electoral Entrenchment of Māori Seats Amendment Bill?
Mr Speaker, that's a decision for each of the parties to make.
Needed a bit of time. Does the coalition government support the retention or the entrenchment or the removal of the Māori seats?
Mr Speaker, sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question. Can she repeat it?
Does the coalition government support the retention or the entrenchment or the removal of the Māori seats?
Mr Speaker, again, each party in the coalition government will make up their own decision.
As Prime Minister, does she understand that the relationship of trust and integrity with her ministers is vital and one that she controls? And if so, why does she need an inquiry into Meka Whaitiri? Doesn't she trust her word?
What about the National Party?
Mr Speaker, I'm not going to prejudge the outcome of the investigation.
Order. Can I just ask the Leader of the House to show a bit of good example?
Mr Speaker, I'm not going to prejudge the outcome of the investigation. Natural justice must apply. The investigation must be allowed to run to be fair to both parties.
Does the Prime Minister decide who holds a ministerial warrant? And if so, then shouldn't she just be asking Meka Whaitiri exactly what happened with her staff member and judging whether she is worthy of that warrant based on her word?
Mr Speaker, to answer the first part of the question, yes.
Does bringing in ministerial services mean that she doesn't trust Meka Whaitere's account of what happened?
Mr Speaker, no. As I've said, there is an investigation going on, and to comment further may prejudice that investigation.
Does she understand that it's not an employment issue, it is an issue of her as Prime Minister having trust with her ministers as to whether or not they are worthy to hold a warrant?
Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister has expects high standards of her ministers, and if those standards aren't met, well then there will be consequences.
Question number 2, the Honourable Amy Adams.
My question is to the Minister of